Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim judgment. 1. Sincere and honest move will cover over dozens of dishonest ones. Open-hearted gestures of honesty and generosity bring down the guard of even the most suspicious people. Once your selective honesty opens a hole in their armor, you can deceive and manipulate them at will. A timely gift. A Trojan horse will serve the same purpose. Observance of the law. Sometime in 1926, a tall, dapper-dressed man paid a visit to Al Capone, the most feared gangster of his time. Speaking with an elegant continental accent, the man introduced himself as Count Victor Lustig. He promised that if Capone gave him $50,000 he could double it. Capone had more than enough funds to cover the investment, but he wasn't in the habit of entrusting large sums to total strangers. He looked the Count over. Something about the man was different, his classy style, his manner, and so Capone decided to play long. He counted out the bills personally and handed them to Lustig. "Okay, Count," said Capone, "double it in 60 days, like you said." Lustig left with the money, put it in a safe deposit box in Chicago, then headed to New York where he had several other money-making schemes in progress. The $50,000 remained in the bank box untouched. Lustig made no effort to double it. 2 months later, he returned to Chicago, took the money from the box and paid Capone another visit. He looked at the gangsters, stony-faced bodyguards, smiled, apologetically, and said, "Please accept my profound regrets, Mr. Capone. I'm sorry to report that the plan failed." "I failed." Capone slowly stood up. He glowed at Lustig, debating which part of the river to throw him in, but the Count reached into his coat pocket, withdrew the $50,000 and placed it on the desk. "Here, sir, is your money to the penny. Again, my sincere apologies. This is most embarrassing. Things didn't work out the way I thought they would. I would have loved to have doubled your money for you and for myself. Lord knows I need it, but the plan just didn't materialize." Capone sagged back into his chair, confused. "I know you're a calm man, Count," said Capone. "I knew at the moment you walked in here. I expected either $100,000 or nothing. But this getting my money back. Well, again, my apologies, Mr. Capone," said Lustig as he picked up his hat and began to leave. "My God, you're honest," yelled Capone. "If you're on the spot, here's $5 to help you along." He counted out 5 $1,000 bills out of the $50,000. The Count seemed stunned, bowed, deeply mumbled his thanks and left taking the money. The $5,000 was what Lustig had been after all along. Interpretation. Count Victor Lustig, a man who spoke several languages and prided himself on his refinement and culture, was one of the great con artists of modern times. He was known for his audacity, his fearlessness, and most important, his knowledge of human psychology. He could size up a man in minutes, discovering his weaknesses, and he had radar for suckers. Lustig knew that most men build up defenses against crooks and other troublemakers. The con artist's job is to bring those defenses down. One sure way to do this is through an act of apparent sincerity and honesty. Who will distrust a person literally caught in the act of being honest? Lustig used selective honesty many times, but with Capone, he went a step further. No normal, calm man would have dared such a con. He would have chosen his suckers for their meekness, for that look about them that says they will take their medicine without complaint. Con Capone, and you would spend the rest of your life, whatever remained of it, afraid. But Lustig understood that a man like Capone spends his life mistrusting others. No one around him is honest or generous, and being so much in the company of wolves is exhausting, even depressing. A man like Capone yearns to be the recipient of an honest or generous gesture, to feel that not everyone has an angle or is out to rob him. Lustig's act of selective honesty disarmed Capone because it was so unexpected. A con artist loves conflicting emotions like these, since the person caught up in them is so easily distracted and deceived. Do not shy away from practicing this law on the Capones of the world. With a well-timed gesture of honesty or generosity, you will have the most brutal and cynical beast in the kingdom eating out of your hand. Keys to power. The essence of deception is distraction. Distracting the people you want to deceive gives you the time and space to do something they won't notice. An act of kindness, generosity, or honesty is the most powerful form of distraction because it disarms other people's suspicions. It turns them into children eagerly lapping up any kind of affectionate gesture. In ancient China, this was called giving before you take. The giving makes it hard for the other person to notice the taking. It is a device with infinite, practical uses. Brazenly, taking something from someone is dangerous. Even for the powerful, the victim will plot revenge. It is also dangerous simply to ask for what you need. No matter how politely, unless the other person sees some gain for themselves, they may come to resent your neediness. Learn to give before you take it. Softens the ground, takes the bite out of a future request, or simply creates a distraction. And the giving can take many forms: an actual gift, a generous act, a kind favor, an honest admission, whatever it takes. Selective honesty is best employed on your first encounter with someone. We are all creatures of habit, and our first impressions last a long time. If someone believes you are honest at the start of your relationship, it takes a lot to convince them otherwise. This gives you room to maneuver. A single act of honesty is often not enough. What is required is a reputation for honesty built on a series of acts, but these can be quite inconsequential once this reputation is established. As with first impression, it is hard to shake. Selective kindness should also be part of your arsenal of deception. Selective kindness will often break down even the most stubborn foe, aiming right for the heart. It corrodes the will to fight back. Remember, by playing on people's emotions, calculated acts of kindness can turn a capone into a gullible child. As with any emotional approach, the tactic must be practiced with caution. If people see through it, their disappointed feelings of gratitude and warmth will become the most violent. Hatred and distrust unless you can make the gesture seem sincere and heartfelt. Do not play with fire.